Thank you so very much. As she stated, I'm Derek C. Pietro, and I am privileged to have this opportunity to come and speak with you all today about being the next city manager of Daytona Beach. I think have the qualifications and the credentials to help to continue to. He always corrects me. Yeah, I try not to stand behind the podium as much. So thank you, sir. To keep the trajectory of this community going forward, I spent a lot of my, pretty much my entire career, 21 some years, working in local government, helping to transform the very fabric of communities, neighborhoods, helping to grow development in the area, bringing in individuals for commercial and industrial. That has been part of my career. And so I want to have the opportunity to serve this community. I'll just be very clear. I'm not running from anything. I have a great job. I have a great elected official. I have a community that is truly thriving. I mean, it is thriving. We've got over 53 since it's the business area. I'm going to try to tailor my comments to you. We have over 53 new developments coming into our area, where we're going to have, over the next 3 to 5 years, 10,000 new residents coming to our community. We have an industrial park that is thriving and bustling. Within 1 year, the Carvana Distribution Center was a $30 to $40 million development with 400 employees that they said was going to take 5 years to go. Is already at full capacity of workers working, and that development is in operation in less than a year. And the question that, if you were to talk with this Carvana team, they would say, why in the world, how are we able to do that? Because I understand the value of making sure that the tax burden is not placed on the citizens, that if we can bring in these type of commercial developments, it helps us all, and the ad valorem taxes that come helps for us to create change in our community. And so we had that the accelerated permitting process. And although we have citizens that were, oh God, the traffic is bad and all that, the value of what they were bringing to our area was something that I knew our development team had to not put barriers up, but put things in place to help them move forward. But not only those type of things, that development in the larger industrial places, but the commercial development in the coming area. Our largest master plan that we are going to be doing the plans just came in last week, that deals with 2 hotels, 8 additional restaurants, townhomes, single family homes, condos to the area. That is going to spur an area within the CRA that will help that CRA to thrive. It's something that we focus on, and that I focused on, but not forgetting the small businesses that are already opening. How do we help them to build up and expand their offerings, that they can go from having 2 or 3 employees to maybe 6 or 10 and eventually grow? And so those are the things that I've been focusing on in perspective to the business, is removing barriers, and giving bridges for people to do work, and not only with large businesses, but small business, and bridging the gap between communities. I have a large African American Hispanic population that I work with. There are small businesses that have been in the community on what I call is similar to the Mary McLeod Bethune area that needs to thrive, and then I have a similar area like the Beach Street that needs to thrive in the community. And so I know the area. I've been here and walked around and actually met with some people in the business community over the last day. I went to Brown and Brown provides us with our risk management and our insurance. And actually, my CFO serves as the chair of their consortium for risk management from Haines City. So those areas I know, in the development of that taking place, and what we do of removing barriers for people to do business. And I think the chamber is aware. I have a great track record, to be honest, with the local chamber and EDCs. On Winter Haven, they are still trying at times to see if I would come back to the area, but my working relationships with the Winter Haven Chamber, the Economic Development Council, the Central Florida Development Council, it's been good, but also with smaller groups. And so regardless if you are with the CEO Business Alliance, or you with the Midtown Redevelopment Group, it's all about how do we bridge the gap and improve all of the community and improve every area of it. And so I will stand for questions that you may have. And that's just an opening. I didn't want to go over all of the background of who I am, but I spent 21 years serving local governments, trying to help them transform the trajectory that is taking place in Daytona. There's great work happening on the west side of the county, from the new outlets to the Dave & Buster's, the Latitude, Margaritaville areas. the new single-family homes, and now how do we work with our neighborhoods from the beachside on to the midtown, to the downtown, to the Derbyshire, the Jimmy Ann areas, to really bring growth for living, but also some commercial and industrial users in some of those areas. Who do I select the people or someone? Yeah. So go ahead, sir. And would you give me your name?
Rufus Johnson. I
Okay.
own the local Geico insurance company here in town and a member of the chamber as well. Just a quick question. You have a great job relationship as city manager of Haines City. Why Daytona?
As I stated earlier, I'm not running from anything. I mean, I have a great commission. I have a great city. It is growing. When I got there downtown, I was trying to find a place to eat. Now we've got different restaurants, a wine bar coming, a cigar lounge coming in. I thought it was really at first just a hot dog and beer. Now I'm doing wine and cheese. I'm really getting in there. So we are growing. I want to be in Daytona Beach because I see what's taking place. I left here in 2001. The only reason I left here, I was working at Kaiser University doing community relations and government relations. My grandfather passed away in Tampa, and my grandmother refused to move from Tampa to Winter Haven, where her other children were. And the only person that they could get to move and not care what she says was me. So I went and I just started moving her. I mean, she had a lot of money. My grandfather, that was the key thing. It's a funny story that I like to tell, that she didn't think that my grandfather had additional insurance on himself. She's just thinking that she's taking care of all the books, but you know how men are. We do certain things we shouldn't do. But he had extra insurance, so she got it. And I said, so I just started moving her. And I told the city manager in Winter Haven when I came there, because I went there and I just took a recreation job. I needed something to make money. And I said, if I stay here, I'm going to be the city manager. And he said, oh, and you work at the recreation center? I said, yes. So he actually brought me to City Hall and put me in charge of communications and marketing and IT. And I actually worked my way up. I did every job in the city of Winter Haven. I rode on the back of a garbage truck and picked up trash in my own neighborhood because he wanted me. I said, I want to know what every staff member does when I went on this internship. The reason I want to come here is because Mr. Chisholm and his team has done a great job of growing the city. It's in great financial, fiscal responsibility. The trajectory is there. The bones are in place for the growth that is taking place. Now I think that with him leaving, it allows me, who does have a background in neighborhood revitalization, bringing groups together, doing CRA, working with the small business minority groups, working with the CEOs. My relationship with the CEO of Legoland, which is theme parks in Winter Haven, Carvana, one of the largest land users in Haines City, has been great. So I know how to do that. We've had a golf course, minor league baseball team, which the stadium is still there. So all of those things, I get that. And that's here. But when I ride around in some of the areas and see some of the neighborhoods, I want to improve that. I don't want a CEO of a business to have to live in Ormond Beach, to have to live, in Port Orange, or I want them to have those quality places throughout that they can choose in any neighborhood, regardless of where it is, and not just in certain locations, for them to thrive. And I want the residents here to feel it. And I think I bring a unique perspective to the area where I'm able to bridge the gap between groups that may disagree and have them come to some type of understanding of how we grow together. Because if one community thrives, we all thrive. And let's just be honest. Second Avenue, which many of you know, is Mary McLeod Bethune. How can Mary McLeod Bethune connect the Brown and Brown building in Daytona State College and not be some type of innovation business laboratory where students are able to thrive, where you've got it connected to a large business, on one end on B Street, and that road goes all the way to the back of Daytona State College? There should be some synergy that takes place between the private sector, the public sector, and the college system to create laboratories where these students can take their training and expertise and put in the workplace. My friend Jake Kiker, who is an attorney, developer in Tallahassee, he's my personal attorney, and he's actually the person that created my LLC so I can do consulting work for educational institutions and government, which I do have a consulting firm. but he created what they call the Domney Station in Tallahassee. It sits on the railroad tracks between Florida A&M University and Florida State. And they all work together with Tallahassee Community College. Now, this is almost like a business incubator, but it is a training lab that the high-end legislative leaders, the local chambers and the EDCs and the development community work with these students. Why shouldn't we have students at the UCF substation or the Bethune-Cookman School of Business or Embry-Riddle helping some of these small businesses do business plans or building websites or building technology to help the small businesses grow, but also working with the large companies and these different attorneys that are on Seabreeze Boulevard or the companies that are down on MMB, or that they can help them that they don't have the capital to build their website or to do business plans. How can we get them all together? And these students realize that, you know what, there's an opportunity for me here, that I don't have to take my expertise and go any other place. And so those are the things that I think that is one idea that's been sitting in my head for the past 3 months. I'm telling you right now, that was the first thing. I've been having an innovative lab, Tori, working with the colleges and university, just like Domney Station in Tallahassee, that I know we can find a location here because I see the value of that particular enterprise. And if you go on their website, the students that were coming in there and getting these $5,000 and $10,000 grants from, 5 from the city and 5 from a private entity, they have multi-million-dollar companies now in Tallahassee. So, this gentleman was here, and then I'm gonna go over to this lady, and then this gentleman, and this gentleman.
My name is Bill Chapin. I'm an architect. In 2008, I did the master plan for Bethune-Cookman. And of course, the enthusiasm for what that was going to bring forward was terrific, and all of a sudden the enthusiasm died. You've heard of Bethune-Cookman, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Definitely.
I've been rehired to renew that master plan as of about 2 months ago. We're starting to work on that.
Okay.
What you're saying is highly encouraging to me and to us. In the interest of teeing it up for you, could you give us a couple of anecdotes of how you have seen yourself in the past be a functionary of making the higher education piece of the city and the city itself all the more successful mutually?
Yeah, I'll be slicing left or right. I play golf, but it's nothing to talk about. So you teed it up for me. I may not be able to get it off the tee, but you did. So if I get the chance, hopefully someone can teach me if I did get the chance to come here. I think the relationship between the city and the educational institutions are essential for a thriving community. I've been able to work with 2 presidents at Polk State College, Dr. Eileen Holden and Dr. Falconetti, that Dr. Holden actually tried to hire me to do governmental relations. But I think that synergy is there for that to take place. And I've made it an essential part of what I do with the staff, that we serve with the local colleges and universities in our area to work so we can build bridges and have an understanding how these are important to be. So I've actually just said, how can I serve? How do we serve? How do you serve on some of our committees? We actually created Haines City University, which is an internal training program working with the local technical schools and the local colleges and some of the local businesses to offer our employees, because every employee does not want to go to college. Every employee doesn't want to get a degree, but how do we intertwine them together that they can get additional training to help us? And then how do we work with not only the colleges and university, but the K through 12? In every community I serve, I've wanted to make sure that we have people that can go to school from pre-K through college. I'm working so hard to get a college campus built in the city I'm currently in. The headquarters for Polk State College was in Winter Haven, where I came from. And so we're offering classes now at the local high school because of the relationships I built. And I believe that's the same thing I'll do here, working with the different presidents and universities, which I've actually talked to all of them except for one about how do we build a bridge for this area. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm Jane Kuiper. I run the Volusia Manufacturers Association.
Okay.
And this is a big challenge that we have. The average wage in manufacturing is $58,000 a year. And you said, and the average wage in the county is $35,500. The challenge that we have is we have jobs, we have training, we have funding for the training. And I know you're familiar with Polk. They've got a lot of advanced manufacturing.
Yes.
We've got a new program coming out, advanced manufacturing technician. we cannot find the people
Yeah.
to put in the training, to pay for their training, to help them get the jobs.
Yeah.
Biggest challenge, we've been working on that for years, so I'd be interested to hear how you would approach that.
Yeah, that is very important. And if you don't know, if you read that, the ILC, the industrial park in Winter Haven with CX6, I sold them the land. It was just vacant land for many years, and now, million square feet of space coming to the area. One of the things, the challenges we have trying to get workforce is people can't get to where the new property is going to be. The buildings where it is, people don't have the jobs, like you said. The funding is there through the colleges, for the training and then all that. And so we've created things of working with them to find employees for them, and also work to get the transportation, working through Polk Transportation to get buses that will take people, and incentivizing those groups. And so the main thing is just the city trying to come to the table and say, let us help you find the workforce. And then what's the barriers for getting people to go through the training? And sometimes people are afraid that they don't qualify, and it's having the right people to talk with them. And that was the difference with Carvana and Sofadale type locations, is that we found city was offering trainings, helping to get the training to them and get the people to their locations, and finding a way to say, these are good jobs, what are the benefits? And that's the thing. But you're right. Some people, let's just be honest. Some people right now just don't want to work. And I'll be honest, but you've got to make it where the benefits that are available will be something that they can actually raise a family and have a good place to live in. And these are discussions that I just have to have with groups like you to understand and try to be that conduit to communicate to individuals who think that they don't qualify, that, hey, there's training available. Just get in the door, do what it takes, and then you can propel. And then you eventually get a good wage. Yes, sir.
Charles Cherry, we've been in media here for 45 years, secretary. Thank you. And I'm now running an advertising piece that focuses specifically on Black Florida and the extension of Black America. That's all we try to reach. Question: Where do you can you describe for us your vision of Daytona in 5 years under your leadership?
This is for the press. Also.
No.
Yeah. I will say this though. When I became the city manager of Winter Haven, you may not know. You probably can go back, but the Daytona Times wrote an article about Derek Theater, alum of Bethune-Cookman, becomes the youngest and first minority to serve as city manager in Winter Haven. So y'all gave, and it was a good picture. It was nice. I actually looked a lot younger. My beard was black. And so if I do get the job here, could you put that picture back up and send that to the News Journal as well? But in 5 years, my expectation is that first we will be a very clear, transparent organization that makes sure that everyone knows. And not saying Mr. Chisholm and his team doesn't. I mean, there's a great communications team here. But one of the things I always wanted, everyone doesn't read the newspaper. Everybody doesn't, looks at a website. So very transparent of doing these, what I call coffees with the manager or community updates on projects affecting their area, but also the areas that can draw in additional resources. So that is one thing. What I do believe is that we'll have neighborhoods transformation taking place in regards to working through code. You all call it code enforcement. I call it code compliance, where people are building up their communities and they see value because the West Side is happening. I'm really going to be focusing on the infrastructure improvements with the leadership of the elected officials. How do we get resources in our community to help deal with some of the infrastructure improvements that they can't see? Because a lot of people don't realize infrastructure improvements are taking place, but people can't see it, so they say nothing's happening in my community. Well, if you tell them that if we don't get this utility line in the ground, that there's going to be problems, and Susan's back there's going, she's going to be writing and speaking that if we don't get this in the ground, there's going to be major flooding that happens in your community. And so we've got to share that whole concept of the infrastructure improvements taking place, and I've been able to do that working with different developers, and I think the understanding happening for our large land users downtown of Winter Haven, Bud Strain and his group started working, and now I know Mr. Miller was in a different meeting, so I know he's from the same community. I'm in Florence Villa in Winter Haven, but he knows how the streets from similar to Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune went from the historic African American community all the way to Cypress Gardens Boulevard on the waterfront. That this one road connected, and I work with those developers to say, hey, you want to make sure that people that are coming to your upscale restaurant, steak restaurant, and your high-rise building, that the community they come through looks just like it is. So it's a seamless transaction. So they understood that, and that's where we bring the group to show the value, Dr. Cherry, that if we improve one area, it improves all of us. And so I would really be focusing on neighborhoods in my vision, how we improve it, that the businesses, I want to make sure that the businesses on Beach Street get people coming to their restaurants, and the businesses on Mary McLeod Bethune get people coming to enjoy engagement and entertainment. And so that's the concept of working with them, making sure that the staff knows that we work for the people, that we're going to remove barriers and bureaucratic practices to allow for people to thrive. I tell Richard Greenwood, he's been a development services director for about 30 years. Planning, he told me about a couple of weeks ago, once staff, it didn't get in the newspaper in Polk County until yesterday. I mean, this whole me being applying for this, now it's been up here all day, and people have tagged me on Facebook, so I just took my Facebook down, so I went, but it didn't get in there till yesterday. But I talked to Richard Greenwood, I asked if I can put him down, and he has been doing this for 30 years as a development services director. And he's gone through, I think he said 12 city managers. And he says, you are the first city manager that truly allowed for me to do my job and remove barriers. And he sometimes have a problem, but most of the policies that are put in place, they don't come from an elected official. An elected official doesn't come and say, you make this land regulation development code, you should put this code in place. Most of them come from the employee to the elected officials. So if it's something that keeps causing a burden to the developer, the business community, or the community member, why don't we change it if it's legal? Just because it's there, why don't we change it? If people are trying to do something in zoning and it works, why are we keep fighting them? Find a way to get the yes is our motto. How do we get the yes? And so in 5 years, you'll see where people have the ability to do better business with the city, but also how do we improve the neighborhoods? And I will be focusing on that while we're still trying to bring in those commercial industrial users and help those business owners that are currently here be elevated. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Can you your name? Can you give me?
Yeah, Phil Maroney.
That's Phil.
Pleasure. We involved in different businesses in the area. You mentioned, I've kind of done a little research on everybody. I saw you're fairly active on social media. You mentioned your consulting business, et cetera. And I think Daytona Beach is a full-time job. I'm curious, how many hours of a week do you spend on your consulting business versus your city manager?
I spend. You can ask the staff and the elected officials. The elected official on the evaluation actually said, I need to take time for myself. I pretty much am moving at the office about 7 o'clock and may be there until 8 o'clock. The consultant, it's something that they allow me to do. I don't do it as much. I spend a majority of my time with the government, and I go to stuff in the city. And that has been a question where people say, do you do the consulting work or you don't? If you talk with the elected officials and you talk to the citizens, you talk with the chamber, the EDC, I guarantee you there will not be one person, or there may be one or two that I might actually know, that they don't want, there may be one or two that don't want me to have a consulting job. Even though other managers prior to me had consulting responsibilities. They will tell you that I spend more time going from a CEO event to a Little League football event in my community because I believe those young people need to see me also, but all that. I can promise you that I will be dedicated to this community and both of the cities that I worked in, if you recall the chamber, if you recall the EDC boards or the CFDC, they will tell you that you can't find a more dedicated manager to the area in my service. But I do understand, one of the things that was in Haines City, they had no presence. No one really knew who their management team was or their elected officials. And one of the things they told me, they wanted to make sure that people felt that you were a real person. And I will agree, some people say, Darren, you shouldn't have that social media, or you shouldn't have the consulting firm. And if that's one of the things the elected officials decide that they don't want me to do those consulting firms, that's just something that negotiated through the contract. But from the president of the colleges, from the CEOs of the businesses downtown, from the different economic development councils and chambers, they know I'm up in the morning and I'm working, and it's not a 8 to 5, and it's not for the staff that I work with. We're directors, we get paid big bucks. And so that is the case, and whether it's a large business or a small business, small city, that's not gonna be an issue.
Thank you.
No problem. Yes, sir.
My name is Len Marinowski. I have a commercial contracting business. I'm the chairman of the chamber. Really impressed with everything that I've seen so far today. From looking through your paperwork, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like the other cities that you've worked in, smaller towns, smaller budgets. How do you feel, Daytona's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that challenge, and speak to that?
I really don't think it's a challenge. Money is money, people are people, growth is growth, development is development. People always say that, I don't know if Mr. Chisholm came from a community 16 years ago, the same size as Daytona Beach. We have everything that Daytona Beach has in the communities that I've served, from golf courses to minor league baseball, to tourism, to special events. Ironman came back to us when they had the major hurricane in Panama. We have our own Ironman, but when they had hurricanes in Panama City, they needed to move somewhere within 2 months. Me and my team were able to host that Ironman in 2 months because we had the infrastructure and the staffing in place. So it really is not about how much the budget is or how many people. It's about how you manage a community and how you manage growth. Growth happens, as I stated, we are the fastest growing city in the state of Florida, pretty much. We got 53 development projects going through different phases that will add another 10,000 people in 5 years. We got a major master plan that's coming in place that's going to add in one set area 2 hotels, over 500 apartments and townhomes and single family homes, 6 or 7 restaurants. We have the Feltram place that's going to be right behind downtown City Hall, that's going to add a parking garage, going to add office and retail and development services and the business incubator. So it's really not about the size for me. It's about how you manage the growth and the continued growth for here. If you guys are looking for someone that served a community the same size as Daytona Beach, that's not going to be me. But if you're looking for someone that's dedicated to helping to transform the lives of people, transform communities, help businesses continue to thrive and not put bureaucratic barriers in place, I am the right man for the job because I know how to do that. I know the relationships. To be honest, I've been offered to go other places, and I haven't taken them because I am satisfied working. I got a great salary, got a great commission, got a great wife, got a great community I live in. It's an opportunity to help this community that's already on a trajectory like no other, to now bring some of the West growth to some of the industrial park areas, the commercial and the residential, and just continue to make this place the best that it can be. And it's not about money is money. I'm not going to do anything illegal, unethical, or immoral. So if you've got somebody that's not going to do that, it doesn't matter if you got 500 million or if you got $1. A person's going to be unethical or immoral or do something unlawful, whether it's $1 or $1 million. And so I think I know that I can do this job working with the business community. And as I stated, you can pick up the phone and call the chamber, the EDC, the Central Florida Development Council. Matter of fact, you can call Kelly Sargent, who's the appropriations chair for the state of Florida. You can call Sam Killebrew, who's the legislature. You can call Colleen Burton. You can call Congressman Webster, or you can call Congressman Darren Soto. These are people that I work with all the time, that are on both sides of the aisle to help to transform communities, that have had meetings with me, with my constituents about the great things. And these are people that have told me, or Grady Judd, Sheriff of Polk County, you can call, he was just with me on yesterday. These are people that I work with every day, regardless of if you have a $2 billion network or you have a $50,000 network. It's about how can I help you be the best that you can be.
Great answer for us.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Love your enthusiasm. I would be curious, Daytona Beach has a large tourism business industry, and I'm just, compared to Haines City, and no offense, but we're a little bit larger on that end of things, and just wondered how that fits in.
Yeah, when it's funny, evidently, when I went to the Harvard Kennedy School of Local Government program one summer, I was the best negotiator. But Legoland, Florida, people think it was in Winter Haven. It was not in Winter Haven. It was its own little island right on the outskirts. And if you were to call Katie Warden's executive, I got Legoland CEO, Merlin Entertainment, that really did, we couldn't communicate well. I got them to annex into the city of Winter Haven and pay an additional $400,000 in taxes. Their theme park with 2 hotels, million visitors coming all the time, got them to annex because I wanted them to say that you keep saying you are in Winter Haven, but where's the value? So we may not have as much as a tourism people coming to the area as Winter Haven, but we do have a company that could have gone anywhere in Central Florida when they were looking. And they were actually looking on iDrive, where I think it was Wet n Wild or Watermania, and it's closed down to go. And they came to our area because of the relationships that we have built with the EDCs, the chambers, sports marketing, tourism. So I can handle those things, like I stated, especially for Haines City. I never would have thought that Ironman would come there. But if you were to contact the Ironman group, when they were looking for a spot, when their Ironman closed down in Panama City, they said they were looking for a spot that they knew could accommodate all of our athletes and put on a good show. And within 2 months, the same thing that they get every April that's coming up in April, they got from us that in 2 months that we normally prepare for an entire year. And so those are the things, that tourist market was there. But I think that, I used to be here when it was just spring break and, it was just the young people. We really want to create an environment, and I want to partner with the community to create an environment where we have families that are coming all the time, that the college students, they don't want to leave. They want to stay here and work. And it's just a matter of working with who's already here to make sure that that happens and that we're able to improve the Seabreeze boulevards of the world for entertainment and the Beach Street, the A18, that people come, but not only come there, but they also go to One Daytona, or they go out to Dave & Buster's near the outlet. And so those are the things. But everything that you guys have here, I've dealt with in Winter Haven. And we just happen to have some very good celebrities that have played in the NBA and all of that, live around the corner from me that I can't. Steve, you didn't play in the NBA, and you did. Oh, okay. You raised your hand. I thought. Okay, so.
Thank you.
Sure not. Okay, right here, this young lady was before you.
Yes, you mentioned in your presentation, an excellent presentation, by the way, the things that you've done in your community, I think are parallel to what we need to do here, and you've used the word transform a lot. I'd like to know, based on your research for Volusia County, what do you think, if you were the elected official, would be your greatest challenge, and how would you tackle that challenge?
As the city manager, my probably greatest challenge, because I'm not here, and really is to try to show what I can offer, because Mr. Chisholm has been here for 16 years and done a great job. As far as his, for some individuals, he's excellent, and for some others, they say, no, he hasn't done great. My thing would be, my biggest challenge will be, how do I bring the enthusiasm that I have to the staff to show that we are here to actually help this community thrive and grow? That yes, we're going to have people that they don't want additional growth. We're going to have, I've already heard it. Well, so much goes on this side of the tracks, and there's nothing that happens on the beach side, and there's not happening. My goal will be trying to get through that challenge and say, we're one Daytona. Everywhere I've gone, I've had the one city, one vision mindset. And I bring that to all staff, that regardless of all the differences of the communities, we're one. If I'm going to be driving to your neighborhood, I want to make sure that the neighborhood I'm driving out of has the same appearance. When I go down Ridgewood, I want to make sure that when people come to Daytona from Holly Hill, Port Orange, and all those South Daytona, they know that they are in a great community. because how it looks when you come, and that we are one. And I think the biggest challenge is just getting you all to know that I'm here and dedicated, just like gentlemen in the back, that I'm dedicated to this job and not my consulting firm. And that's the key that I want people to know, and that's what I will do until they tell me they no longer want me in this profession. Every other meeting, they can make a decision that they don't want me, and I wouldn't have done this for 21 years if I didn't know that would happen. I have now 4 people that I'm really responsible to. My son serves in the United States Army. My first grandchild, was just born March the 4th, and he's married. So as long as my wife, my son, my daughter-in-law, and my grandchild are happy with me, I'm fine. I don't want to be in the front page for doing something illegal, immoral, or unethical. How much I get paid, the title that I have, really doesn't bother me. If this job is not available for me, I'll go and I'll find another one. I'll go back to where I am. But I don't let the title, and I don't let the job and the pay. Those are the 4 people that make me happy. And so as long as I'm here doing a good job and they're pleased, I'm also pleased. Because in the profession that I'm in, I know that I can be gone in 2 weeks, and I've been dealing with that since 2001.
I think we have time for one last question.
Mr. Miller?
Interesting question. You have been fired from a city.
Yes.
Could you explain that?
Yes. City of Winter Haven, commissioners, a freshman commissioner had been on the commission for a couple of months. He ran on pretty much the pension plan and for city employees, resolving the pension plan. And so they came in and I did everything possible. I got a blue ribbon committee of actuaries, attorneys, CPAs, auditors, because what I presented says that we didn't need to dissolve it right now. These are the things, recommendations I made were great. Well, new commissioner did not agree with that. Got 2 other commissioners to say, let's do something else. I selected a committee of actuaries, insurance people, as I stated. They got together, went through all of this stuff, calculated, and brought back pretty much the same recommendation I offered. Made a presentation at the commission. One of the commissioners says, city manager has done his job. Now it's time for the elected officials to do their job. That wasn't good enough. The commissioner, the new freshman, wanted me to still get rid of it. And I refused to do that because I knew that it would cost us more the next couple of years. We need to try to figure out, should we close it for new people, because we need to keep paying it. If you close the whole plan, there's nobody else paying into the pension plan, or you got employees still working. And sometimes government plans can be a problem, so I do understand that. So that went through the process, and that commissioner did not like that. And then another commissioner came on and signed on, even though I had just received above average a couple of months beforehand. You must have read the stuff. I had just received above average from these same commissioners, except for that one new commissioner. I had received above average on the that stuff. And that same commissioner, he got him to go along with it. But the odd thing is, this is a commissioner that was friends with me. Like, we were friends, not associates. We were friends, went on trips, football games and everything. Well, he got terminated from a previous city manager for doing something, and he won the election, and that city manager left. And then the position for deputy city manager came forward, and I would not hire him because I thought that was wrong. Some impropriety. You're on the commission, and then he chimed in to go along with it. So, although the president of the chamber, president of the EDC, she's nodding, so you know who all spoke, president of the chamber, president of the EDC, the president of the college, the largest landholder in the city of Winter Haven, that had did over $200 or $300 million worth of investments downtown. When I got there was one store at 2 p.m. I was standing in the middle of the Central Avenue, and all the buildings were boarded up except for one. Now they have over at least 12 restaurants down there. We got law firms, we got housing, affordable housing to $1,800 for one bedroom. We have all of them came and spoke. All of them spoke at the meeting and says, what are you on? The chamber wrote a letter and came to the meeting and said, this gentleman has removed barriers for us to do our work here and revitalize our entire downtown, our entire community. Why are you terminating him? The the conservative newspaper, The Ledger, who very seldom wrote columns about appointment, they wrote I actually keep it. I mean, sometimes I open it up when I'm at office when I'm feeling that, but they wrote that. When my wife tells me that I'm gaining weight, because I was a track star, it doesn't look like it now. But they wrote one of the best editorials, because they hadn't written some before. Because I truly was dedicated, and I made some people mad. And there were some employees that could not get onto my YES program of how do we get to YES because we put yours in. But they all spoke, and I was extremely honored, and that is what made it so easy for me at the meeting to just say, these are all words. One door closes, another one will open. And they wrote that there were like 3 other cities going through city manager, and they tagged those cities in their article saying, if I were you, I would order this. And I can tell you, so I've been in Haines City 4 years. When I went to Haines City, I had to get in my car and drive miles to go get something to eat. There was one restaurant downtown. In 4 years, there were 5 restaurants. All of the dilapidated buildings, like I said beforehand, I thought I was going to a community was beer and hot dogs. Now we got wine and cheese. And I'm happy. But yeah, we got a cigar lounge coming, a wine and cheese bar. We've got real estate school, law offices opening up, CPAs coming downtown, and the city, there was a block behind the city that was a dilapidated block in a dance studio. And so I went over to the lady that owns it, older lady, and I said, ma'am, we need this property. She's like, well, it's going to be like $2 million. I'm going, I don't have $2 million. Man, we need this property. The city had been trying to buy this property for many years, and then I realized they built a new city hall on the property that is adjacent to her when they told her they were going to buy her property, is what the story I hear. So she had been holding out for long. So it was more than 1.5, 1.8 million, I think. I got it for $900,000. Wow. $900,000. Then I contacted Gary Kennedy of Feltron Development, who has been looking at properties downtown, which built a resort in Haines City, and this is the great thing here. The resort is in the CRA. So the money is, this comes over. So I'm having fun now. But it is a resort. It is they have their own water park, their own ballroom. They got a first house when you walk in there, it's like $750,000 home, and I'm going, and I just was shocked. So we got with him, team got together. So we're doing a public and private partnership. And behind City Hall, we're building a car garage. We're building a place for office and retail, and residential, which they haven't had new residential in downtown Haines City in over 60 years. The HR director, he keeps grabbing. He texts me now, he has my number. But so they terminated me from that spot, where if you were to look, you will see the change in downtown. And I mean, she knows she's evidently talked with Katie, and now the same thing is happening there. That's here, and I can promise you all this, that I will be available to have conversations and remove barriers. Carvana normally takes 2 years to open up a new one of their distribution centers. They did it in 9 months in Haines City. You know why? Because before it got to the commission, I made sure everything was right, and I told staff, this is a development that will change the corridor of an area. So whatever barriers that we, not the elected officials, not the community, that we put up, we need to pull them down to make them thrive. And I said so when they did that 9 months, I said that same dedication has to be done for the small business owner. Now we do have some, you guys in the business, sometimes business people are a little pushy, but it's okay. I'm being transparent, that's what y'all want here. So we have developers at times that will go, can you get more permits out? And I'm going, so if I open it up and let you bring in all of your permits, then DR Horton's going to bring in all their permits. Then Cassidy. So we have a process, because when you've got a place that was having, 10 or 15 permits pulled every 3 months, And every time you look around, you got 100, 150 permits for just single-family homes coming in. 50,000 units through different phases coming to Haines City. And so I thank y'all.
How long did it take you to get in the job after that time?
You know, I actually traveled around the world, and it took me about 2.5 months. But I had a great 7. Thank you all.